What his team is trying to do is get the public to assume that the government is leaking some of this negative information about him, like that Cassie video. But the reality is he's got a lot of enemies.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Imagine this, the once glamorous, larger-than-life Sean Diddy Combs sitting in a packed courtroom, his head slightly bowed, his demeanor a far cry from the confident strut we've seen on countless red carpets. The man who built an empire on music and luxury now finds himself at the center of one of the most shocking scandals in recent memory. But the real headline here isn't just about him. It's about the emotional eruption of his daughters, Delilah, Chance, and Jessie, who, after years of silence, found their voices in the most dramatic way possible. This courtroom became the stage for their long-buried pain, a stage that none of them would have willingly chosen, but one they could no longer avoid.
A US judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
The tension was palpable. Lawyers shuffled papers, reporters whispered hurried updates into their phones, and the gallery was packed with curious onlookers, all craning their necks to catch a glimpse of the fallen mogul. This wasn't just another celebrity trial, it was a spectacle. Diddy, once known for his extravagant parties, luxurious lifestyle, and unshakable confidence, now appeared almost unrecognizable. His tailored suits were replaced with a plain, standard-issue jumpsuit. His face, once a mask of charm and bravado, now seemed tired, worn, and etched with lines of worry. He sat silently, his shoulders hunched, as if the weight of the world, or at least the weight of his own decisions, was pressing down on him. But if Diddy's appearance was shocking, the emotional breakdown of his daughters was absolutely gut-wrenching. For years, the public had rarely seen or heard much from them. Unlike their brothers Justin and Christian, who often basked in the glow of their father's spotlight, the daughters had always maintained a quiet, almost invisible existence. And now it was painfully clear why. As their voices cracked, their tears fell, and their emotions spilled over, the courtroom became a place of raw, unfiltered heartbreak. This was not just about legal battles or allegations. It was about years of bottled-up pain, secrets, and the heavy burden of growing up in the shadow of their father's empire.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
The daughter's absence at Diddy's side during the hearing spoke volumes. While Justin and Christian sat stoically near their father, their presence signaling loyalty or perhaps fear of the consequences of distancing themselves, the daughters were nowhere to be seen. Their decision to stay away wasn't just a logistical choice. It was a powerful statement, a silent scream of defiance. Rumors swirled that they were considering filing for legal emancipation, a drastic move that would sever their ties to the man who had shaped so much of their lives. The whispers about emancipation only added to the already electric atmosphere in the courtroom, a move that would be as much symbolic as it would be legal. A declaration that they no longer wanted to be tethered to a legacy they found suffocating. As the hearing continued, the conversation inevitably turned to the late Kim Porter, Diddy's longtime partner and the mother of his children. Her name hung over the proceedings like a ghost, a presence that could not be ignored. Kim's sudden and tragic passing in 2018 had initially been ruled as a result of lobar pneumonia, but the circumstances surrounding her demise had always raised eyebrows. In the years since, whispers of foul play, cover-ups, and hidden truths had only grown louder. Those whispers now roared in the courtroom, amplified by the daughter's emotional outpouring and the weight of new allegations.
Well, Kim Porter, that is Diddy's ex, who's also the mother of his 3 of his children.
Right.
Has detailed the alleged abuse that she suffered at his hands.
Oh, no.
And this is all in a memoir.
Kim's demise was in many ways the catalyst for the daughter's breaking point. They had reportedly been close to their mother, finding in her a source of warmth and stability that often seemed absent in their father. Her loss was devastating, but the questions that lingered around her final days made it even harder to bear. Official reports had described mild symptoms in the days leading up to her passing, nothing that would have suggested such a rapid and shocking decline. Just days before, Kim had reportedly been in good spirits, even undergoing a routine medical checkup that revealed no serious health concerns. Yet within a week, she was gone, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a family fractured by grief. Adding to the mystery were the strange circumstances surrounding Kim's personal belongings, her laptop and cell phone, items that would have undoubtedly contained personal notes, photos, and other key details about her life, vanished without explanation. Their disappearance was more than just a logistical inconvenience. It was a red flag, a glaring indication that someone might have been trying to erase evidence, to bury the truth of what really happened to her. The daughters, who had grown up witnessing the complexities of their parents' relationship, were left to wonder whether their mother's demise was as natural as it was claimed to be, or if it was the result of something far more sinister.
You know what I'm saying? Just with this Cassie thing, I didn't know her, but I knew somebody like her, and that was Kim Porter. I didn't know Cassie, but I knew somebody who was going through the same thing she was going through, and that was Kim Porter.
Fueling the fire was a leaked memoir that purported to contain Kim's own words, written before her untimely passing. While the legitimacy of the document has been hotly debated, its contents were explosive. In it, Kim allegedly detailed years of emotional manipulation, control, and, at times, outright hostility from Diddy. The memoir painted a picture of a relationship that was as toxic and turbulent as it was glamorous. It spoke of a man who, behind closed doors, was far different from the charming public persona he presented to the world. Whether or not the memoir was authentic, its existence was enough to reignite suspicions and cast a long shadow over the courtroom proceedings.
And it's like, it was the same thing Kim was going through. The same thing, bro. Kim was going through the same thing. The beatings, you know what I'm saying?
For the daughters, the memoir and the unresolved questions surrounding their mother's demise were the final straws. They had spent their lives caught in the crossfire of their parents' tumultuous relationship, witnessing dynamics that no child should ever have to see. Growing up in the lap of luxury may seem enviable to outsiders, but for them, it came at a steep emotional cost. The breakdown they experienced in court wasn't just about the current legal battle. It was about a lifetime of suppressed pain, confusion, and heartbreak finally bubbling to the surface. As the courtroom drama continued, the cracks in the Combs family facade grew wider. Diddy's once tight grip on his public image was slipping, and the daughters' actions only highlighted the growing divide within the family. Their potential move toward emancipation was more than just a legal maneuver. It was a symbolic rejection of the legacy their father had built. It was a statement that they would no longer remain silent, that they would no longer be complicit in perpetuating a narrative that had caused them so much pain.
Do I think, yeah. Every man possibly is capable. I think he's very capable of doing it. It's in his character. That's who he is. That's what comes with power. That's what comes with arrogance. That's what comes with, what makes him, power. That's just the selfishness to make you be like that.
The sons, on the other hand, appeared to be grappling with their own struggles. Justin and Christian's decision to sit by their father's side seemed to indicate loyalty, but it also raised questions about the pressures they might be facing. Were they there out of genuine support, or were they simply playing their roles in a family dynamic that demanded unwavering allegiance? The contrast between the sons and daughters was stark, highlighting the complex web of relationships and emotions that defined the Combs family. Meanwhile, the courtroom became a battleground not just for legal arguments, but for the hearts and minds of the public. Every tear shed, every emotional outburst, every whispered allegation added to the growing spectacle. The media frenzy surrounding the case was relentless, with headlines dissecting every detail and commentators speculating about what might come next. The daughters' emotional collapse became a symbol of the larger issues at play: a family torn apart, a legacy in question, and a man who, for all his wealth and power, seemed utterly powerless to stop the unraveling.
So it's just another form to silence a man, to humble a person. You know how sometimes you gotta humble somebody?
You're right.
Yeah, I think he's being humbled right now, which it took a long time. It takes a long time to humble an arrogant person.
As the day's proceedings came to a close, one thing was clear. The daughters' voices, once silent, were now impossible to ignore. Their breakdown wasn't just an emotional moment, it was a turning point. It was a declaration that they would no longer be overshadowed, no longer be silenced, no longer be pawns in a game they never asked to play. Their actions sent a powerful message not just to their father, but to the world. The truth, no matter how painful, would no longer be buried. But what if the courtroom drama wasn't just about legal battles and family disputes? What if it was the tip of an iceberg, a tangled web of secrets stretching back decades, filled with whispers of betrayal, manipulation, and control? The breakdown of Diddy's daughters may have been the most visible crack in the surface, but beneath it lies a sea of unanswered questions, mysterious disappearances, and an empire built on power plays. It felt as though the courtroom wasn't just a legal battleground. It was the stage for a reckoning long overdue.
The person that really put their hands on women really is people who have men who have feminine traits. So, it really takes a coward to put his hands on a woman. So, a man is so strong enough, we can just walk away. You can do, there's so many different things that you can do other than get upset, put your hands on a woman. But that comes from a man who's not quite a grown man.
And at the center of it all was the figure of Kim Porter, whose story continues to haunt the proceedings. Her name, once associated with grace, beauty, and strength, is now tied to a mystery that refuses to fade. As new details began to emerge about her final days, the courtroom audience couldn't ignore the chilling coincidences. It wasn't just the missing devices or the rushed explanations. It was the growing sense that Kim's passing might have been the result of something far more calculated than anyone wanted to believe. Rumors of a flash drive allegedly left behind by Kim before her untimely passing have only added fuel to the fire. This drive, reportedly passed along by anonymous sources within the music industry, is said to contain damning evidence. Notes, recordings, and even videos that could shed light on the darker corners of her relationship with Diddy. While the existence of the drive remains unverified, its alleged contents have already caused a media frenzy. The leaked excerpts from her supposed memoir, a raw, emotional account of her struggles, paint a troubling picture of a life lived under constant scrutiny and control. If even a fraction of the claims in these leaks is true, then the narrative of Kim's life and perhaps her passing could shift dramatically.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes,
new.
there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
And then there's the bizarre phone call between Diddy and his son Justin that was leaked to the public. On the surface, the conversation seemed innocent, even mundane. Diddy mentioned pizza boxes, a phrase that could have easily been dismissed as a casual reference. But for those familiar with the whispers surrounding his private life, this was anything but innocent. Insiders claim that pizza boxes was a thinly veiled code, a way of referring to certain incriminating items stored in one of his Miami properties. These weren't just ordinary possessions. They were said to include everything from notebooks filled with handwritten notes to items that allegedly tied him to years of questionable behavior. The urgency in Diddy's voice during the call as he instructed Justin to take care of it left little doubt that he was attempting to cover his tracks.
It sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
The leaked audio sent shockwaves through the courtroom and beyond. It wasn't just the content of the call that raised eyebrows, it was the sheer brazenness of it. Here was a man who had spent decades building an empire, now seemingly reduced to frantic attempts to erase evidence. What was he so desperate to hide? And why were so many people around him willing to turn a blind eye? As federal prosecutors laid out their case, the scope of the accusations became clearer and more troubling. According to their claims, this wasn't just about one man's alleged behavior. It was about a carefully orchestrated pattern that spanned years, involving a network of people who either enabled or ignored the warning signs. Investigators revealed that during a raid on one of Diddy's properties, they discovered a treasure trove of items that painted a disturbing picture. Among them were stacks of receipts, handwritten notes, and even a collection of video recordings that prosecutors described as compelling evidence. But perhaps the most shocking discovery was a stash of items that seemed tailor-made for manipulation. Things that could easily be used to control or intimidate.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
Diddy's legal team, of course, has pushed back hard against these claims. They've argued that the search warrants used to gather this evidence were flawed, that the raids themselves were intrusive and illegal. Their goal is clear: to discredit the prosecution's case at every turn and suppress as much evidence as possible. But for many watching the trial unfold, these arguments feel like a distraction, a way to shift focus away from the growing pile of allegations. And let's not forget the role of Diddy's inner circle in all of this. Over the years, he's surrounded himself with a tight-knit group of advisors, employees, and associates, many of whom now find themselves implicated in the unfolding drama. Some have been accused of helping to facilitate his alleged misconduct, while others are said to have turned a blind eye to his behavior. The loyalty of this group is now being tested like never before, as prosecutors dig deeper into their roles and motivations. Were they acting out of fear, loyalty, or greed? Or did they truly believe they were doing nothing wrong?
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
The daughter's emotional collapse in court only added to the mounting tension. For them, this wasn't just about the legal battle, it was about years of living in an environment where power and control took precedence over love and respect. Their tears weren't just a reaction to what was happening in the courtroom, they were the result of a lifetime of bottled-up pain. And their decision to potentially seek emancipation from their father speaks volumes about the depth of their disillusionment. But the daughters aren't the only ones grappling with the fallout from this trial. Diddy's sons, Justin and Christian, also find themselves in an increasingly precarious position. Their decision to stand by their father during these proceedings has sparked both admiration and criticism. On one hand, their loyalty is seen as a testament to their bond with their father. On the other hand, many have questioned whether their presence is a sign of genuine support or a calculated move to protect their own interests. After all, they too have benefited from the empire their father built, and now find themselves facing the possibility of losing it all.
Realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
As the courtroom drama continues to unfold, it's becoming clear that this isn't just about one man's alleged actions. It's about the ripple effects those actions have had on everyone around him, his family, his employees, and even his fans. The trial has become a mirror, reflecting the complexities and contradictions of a man who was once idolized, but is now facing the consequences of his choices. For the daughters, this trial represents an opportunity to reclaim their narrative. By breaking their silence, they've taken the first step in challenging the version of events that has been presented to the public for so long. They're no longer just bystanders in their father's story, they're active participants in their own. And while the road ahead is undoubtedly filled with challenges, their decision to speak out has already made a powerful impact. As the proceedings move forward, one thing is certain: the truth will eventually come to light. Whether that truth confirms the allegations or exonerates Diddy, it will forever change the way he is perceived. The once untouchable mogul now finds himself vulnerable, his carefully curated image cracking under the weight of scrutiny. And as more details emerge, the public will be forced to grapple with a complex legacy of a man who is both revered and reviled.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
The courtroom may be the setting for this drama, but the real story is playing out in the hearts and minds of those who are closest to Diddy. For his daughters, his sons, and everyone else caught in the crossfire, this trial is more than just a legal battle. It's a fight for closure, accountability, and a chance to finally move forward. And as the world watches, one question looms large: will justice be served, or will the tangled web of secrets and lies prove too difficult to unravel? The answer, it seems, is just around the corner. As the courtroom drama continues to unfold, the questions surrounding Diddy and his family grow more complex and controversial. Do you believe the daughter's emotional outburst was a genuine cry for help, or a calculated move to sway public opinion? And what about the mysterious circumstances around Kim Porter's demise? Could there be more to the story than meets the eye? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and dive deeper into this intriguing saga. Until next time, stay tuned for more celebrity gossip and revelations. Goodbye.